The life of Blessed Carlo Acutis is now the focus of a new documentary. The Boy from Milan, released April 2nd on Form to the Augustine Institute's faith formation streaming platform. It features interviews with 3 people impacted by Acutis' life story.
Carlo was a special young boy. He had an ordinary life, like most of everybody, but he opened the door of his heart to Jesus, and his ordinary life became extraordinary.
And for more, we turn to Emily Mentock, executive producer of The Boy from Milan, a documentary by the Augustine Institute. Emily, it's great to be with you. In announcing this 30-minute movie, you said that Blessed Carlo Acutis is known as the sneaker-wearing teenager who loved computers and gaming. But there's so much more to his story. What is that more you're talking about?
I think that we've heard so much about Blessed Carlo as God's influencer or because he played video games. But what we would really love for people to know, and what we're exploring in this documentary, is what did his daily life of holiness look like, so that we can be inspired to pursue that in our own lives as well.
And when you're thinking about this movie, you basically are telling the story of Carlo Acutis from the perspective of 3 people who knew him pretty well: his mother, one of his high school teachers, and one of his doctors who was with him through this journey. How did you find those 3, and why did you choose these 3?
Well, one thing that's really convenient about pursuing the story of someone who passed away so recently is that there's a lot of stories available. A hallmark of this series is that we want to tell the lives of modern saints by hearing directly from people who knew them personally. And so we were exploring different stories, but found that these 3 put together really told a unique story of who Carlo really was. And one of the things that stood out to us was how much he impacted each of their lives and really changed how they lived their faith and pursued holiness themselves. And that's what we hope to inspire the audience to do as well.
Yeah, very different interactions as a son, as a student, as a patient, right? Well, even secular media like the Associated Press is reporting on this phenomenon of tens of thousands of pilgrims flocking to see the body of Blessed Carlo in Assisi, and the influence that that's having on all of the young people who are influenced by him. What should we be expecting for his canonization in late April?
You know, as the church becomes more global, we're seeing more and more people from all over the world have devotion to these people on the path to sainthood and to canonization. So one thing that really strikes me about Carlo and people's devotion to him and his reputation as an influencer for God is how appealing he is to people all over the world, and people of every generation. Of course, young people, people who are the same generation as him, like myself, and probably you as well, but also people who are just inspired by the witness of a young person who didn't shy away from holiness in our modern world and for all the challenges that it presents. So I'm really looking forward to seeing a global and diverse audience celebrate this young saint from Italy.
Do you think there's an urgency behind that outreach to younger generations that this soon-to-be saint is going to address, that's kind of fueling the Holy Father's urgency behind his canonization?
Well, you know, the church's process for picking saints is very complex and very rigid and strict for how they review, you know, the miracles that have been submitted for canonization. But I do think that I'm certain that the Vatican must be seeing and sensing the love that people have for Blessed Carlo and other young saints. And of course, you know, everyone in the church today would say that there is an urgency to continue to engage young people. That's the future of our church. And I'm really inspired by Carlo's example to show us what does that look like in modern times. Less so because of his, you know, particular skills for building websites or that he loved to play video games, and more so for how he lived holiness even in a world with modern challenges, which really inspired me in telling this story and hopefully will inspire others as well.
Right, that walk with Jesus Christ no matter what circumstances you're in. Thank you so much. Emily Mentock, executive producer of The Boy from Milan, a documentary by the Augustine Institute. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.